Hello, good afternoon. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now with me, Vinny Motiwala, along with me, Shrishti Sharma as well. Shrishti, a very good afternoon to you as well. And markets holding on to that positive side today, obviously near those all-time high levels as well. As of now, yes, 19,300. We're trading about that mark today. Not much of a decline that we're seeing from that point. And look at it, still Nifty 50 is trading with gains of 0.6% in trade. Other than that, let's look at what the Sensex is doing as well. That too is holding on to good gains in a trade today. Look at the gains there, 0.6% in trade over there. 65,155 is what the Sensex is at. Mid-cap, small-cap space too performing in tandem with the benchmark indices. Mid-cap space, mild gains of almost 0.1% in trade, but small-cap space, when you look at that, look at the interesting chart coming there because that is surely outperforming the benchmark indices as of now, up more than 1% in trade. Now, in terms of the advance decline ratio also, would you look at it, that's in the favor of the advances versus the decline. Nifty Bank obviously supporting the gains because Nifty PSU Bank is among the top sectoral gainer that we're seeing coming in. Other than that, we have Nifty Energy, which is doing well in trade as well as in terms of the declines that we're seeing coming in is the Nifty Auto, IT and Pharma. These are the ones as of now that are trading in the red. Nifty Pharma is trading with cuts of almost more than 0.7% in trade. Nifty IT down almost 0.4% in trade. So yes, some bit of a red that is coming in on the pharma and IT and auto side, Shrishti. But other than that, the markets are surely holding on to good gains. And on that note, we'll talk about all the stocks that are buzzing in trade, either on the back of these floors or on the back of technicals, and that's the 1 hour of the show that we'll be taking you all through all these stocks. So let's bring on board our technical analyst for today. We have Sameet Chavan joining in with us, while from the research team we have Harsh as well as Ashesha joining in with us. A very good afternoon to all three of you all as well. And as always, I'm going to be starting with the first stock, and that is what we're going to talk about is Apollo Tyres. That's the stock that is in focus today. Why is that so? We have a note that is coming from Morgan Stanley. Now, Morgan Stanley has actually downgraded the stock now and given an equal weight rating from a previous overweight rating for the stock. So they've hiked the target price nonetheless to 425 rupees. But the rating, that was the downgrade that we saw coming in. So a hike of 25 rupees in terms of the target price, but other than that, they've downgraded the stock. They believe that the company is on track to meet the return on capital employed target. The commodity cycle and the competitive intensity are benign, and these positive are priced in. Hence, maybe a bit of a downgrade in terms of the rating because this is already priced in. Slight bit of a high in terms of the target price, Shrishti.
Well, yes, the stock is under pressure today, but moving on, and let's shift focus to NMDC as the company has come up with an update for their steel production. And what NMDC has reported in terms of that, where they have recorded their highest ever production in June, and Q1 FY24 update is what we have witnessed, wherein NMDC production is up 35% on a month-on-month basis, where they have sold 4.1 million tons. That's an uptick of 115% on a month-on-month basis. So a good uptick when it comes to the production as well as the sales figure. When it comes to their Q1 production number, there they have updated that the production is up 20% and the sales are up 45%. Definitely a positive news for NMDC. The stock is holding a gains of around 2.5%. But other than that, NMDC Steel, that's a recently listed counter that's also buzzing in trade on the back of the news flow, where they have conducted their trial run on the HRC mill, and the analysts expect that the steel plant commissioning to be delayed yet again. So that's not that a positive news for NMDC Steel, but definitely an update coming in, and a rub-off effect from NMDC is what NMDC Steel might be having.
Okay, surely keeping an eye on both those names. But let's move on to the third stock, and this is going to be on the technicals. Sameet, you picked out IOC for us as the first stock. Now, today we are seeing some of the names are buzzing in trade. For IOC, in the last 6 months, how has the chart shaped up, and what is the indication that you're getting? Today, the stock is up 4% almost. What is it panned in terms of IOC now going forward?
Good afternoon. See, as far as the entire OMC pack is concerned, we are seeing buoyant moves since morning itself. If you talk about IFC, the stock has been a steady mover in last 2 to 3 months. Stock has already rallied quite sharply from the levels of 76 and then consolidated around its previous highs of 92. So after a minor correction, a brief pause, since morning we are seeing good buying traction in this counter. Stock has already confirmed a breakout from its previous highs. So 95, 96 was previous resistance level. It has already broken up above that important level. And from here on, if you look at it from a slightly broader perspective, will not be surprised to see the stock, surpassing the three-digit mark in this week itself. So overall, the bias remains positive as far as short-term target is concerned. We expect the stock heading towards 104, 108 over the next couple of weeks' time. At current level or any minor dip would be a good buying opportunity. And as far as supports are concerned, now 88 to 90 should be seen as a strong support zone.
Okay, 88 to 90 seen as a strong support and the bias remains bullish. But moving on, let's shift focus to Mazagon Dock. Ashesha, that's the first stock that you have picked up. Tell us, what's the news flow?
Well, yes, the stock is soaring in trade today. Order win is the reason this counter is in focus today. In fact, it is gaining as much as 5.5% as we speak, off the highest point of the day, but despite that, registering solid gains. And that is because the company has signed a contract with Indian Navy. The cost of the contract stands about 2,724 crores. The contract is for medium refit cum live certification of second Shishumar class submarine INS Shankush. So that is the reason the stock is buzzing in trade today. In fact, we did speak to the management earlier in the day, and the management said that they are in talks with MTPT for additional berths. They also said that they have floated plant for dry dock and it will be ready in the next couple of years. They do not see any threat with respect to land being taken from Mazagon. So order win plus strong commentary from the management is why the stock is in focus today, gaining over 5.5% in trade today.
Absolutely gaining more than 5.5%. That's Mazagon Dock for you all. But let's move on to another gainer. And Harsh, L&T Finance is up more than 7% today. Last 1 week when I'm looking at it also, it's up like 15-16%. What's the news flow here today?
Well, yes, big gainer, and today's specific news flow has come through that Dinanath Dubhashi, who is the CEO and MD, will superannuate from the company on 30th of April 2024. That's less than a year away, and the board has approved appointment of Mr. Sudipta Roy as MD and CEO in his place with effect from January 24th, 2024. In fact, what we understand, of course, is that Sudipta Roy has 24 years of financial services experience, deep understanding of consumer finance, cards, as well as retail loans, lending and payments. Mind you, L&T Finance is making that big shift from wholesale lending to retail lending. So it seems that Sudipta Roy is perfectly placed for pushing retail lending forward. He joins in from, of course, ICICI Bank, where he serves currently as group head and manages diverse businesses of ICICI Bank. He's worked both with Citibank as well as Deutsche Bank in the past. So on the back of that, you can see the stock up and away, 7% higher.
Okay, we're moving on, and Sameet, once again coming to you. Definitely the oil and gas space is buzzing. From the pack, you have picked up the city gas distribution company, Mahanagar Gas. Tell us how the chart's looking.
See, all these city distribution gas companies have been giving some sort of deceptive moves of late. But if you talk about MGL, stock has been steady. It has been hovering around its important support levels of 1020, 1030 since last 3 to 4 weeks, and since morning we are seeing good traction. So it's in a process of forming a good bullish flag pattern, and this time if this particular stock moves beyond 1100 and stays above it, then probably we can see this stock coming out of recent congestion phase and then probably head towards 1150, 1160. So we continue to remain a bit on this particular space. As far as MGL is concerned, once it surpasses 1100, as I said, 1150, 1170, these are the next levels to watch out for. And on the low side, if you see, there's a strong support that has been formed around 1020 mark. So till the time this stock does not go below this important level, there's no real reason to worry for.
Let's keep an eye out on those levels for Mahanagar Gas. Let's move on and talk about operational updates that have started. So lucky us, we'll be getting a lot of stocks now, which are going to be in focus. But yes, starting with Karur Vysya Bank, this one is in focus because the Q1 FY24 operational update is there. You're seeing the stock has run up as much as 5% in trade, and it actually hit a 52-week high as well. So now what happened in terms of deposits? An improvement that we're seeing in terms of the total deposits of the company coming in at 76,638 crores, which is an uptick of 14% on a year-on-year basis. Also, the total advances of the company, that too, saw a 14% growth coming in at 64,168 crores versus just 58,890 crores in the last year. So 14% growth there. CASA is up by 2.5% as well on a year-on-year basis. So good operational upgrade that has come in from the company, and that is why that run-up that we're seeing in the stock up 4.3% as of now, Shrishti.
Okay, moving on, and let's shift focus to Voltas now. The company has come out with its annual report. That's on yearly basis. But what great updates coming in from there, where for the industry, they highlight that the Indian room AC market is likely to reach $5 billion by FY28 with a CAGR growth of 10%. Where Voltas, being the industry leader with a market share of close to 22% in RAC segment, is expected to be at the forefront of this growth, and they remain very optimistic about the room AC business and is investing in augmenting its capacity, where the growth drivers include the hotter summer, rising disposable income, and aspiration for a better lifestyle. And the rural demand is also expected to pick up in the coming years on the back of stability. So very positive commentary coming in from Voltas from their annual report, but nevertheless the stock is just trying to hold itself in the green right now.
Absolutely, keeping an eye out on Voltas, given up those morning gains and the hike that I saw in the stock price. But yes, minor gains as of now. But let's move on and talk about RBL Bank. And Sameet, this one has been a bit flip-floppy in terms of the moves that we've seen. We've seen a sharp correction coming in there as well. But now what is the indication? Because in the last few months, it seems like that, from the correction, it started picking up pace. So what is the level that we should keep an eye out on for RBL Bank?
In fact, if you see in last couple of months time, this stock has been one of the rank outperformers within the mid cap space. So recently we saw this stock forming a strong base around 200-day simple moving average. So 140, 145 kind of zone acted as a very strong support. It has formed a strong base around it, and then from here on it started moving higher. Yes, a couple of weeks back there was some consolidation or profit booking was seen in this counter. But since last Tuesday, this stock has again resumed its upward trajectory, and since there has been no stopping. So looking at it slightly, from a broader perspective, this stock this time is poised to surpass 200 mark. So we are quite a bit on this counter. A minor dip probably towards 180, 175 would make it an attractive, risk to reward candidate. Overall, 200, 205, these are the immediate levels to watch out for. But if you have slightly broader view or medium-term perspective, then will not be surprised to even see this stock, heading towards 220, 225. So the bias should remain positive. Dip should be utilized as a buying opportunity. And on the lower side, as a momentum trade, one can now keep a stop around 170, 172, and should ride on to this particular move.
Okay, so right on the RBL Bank rally, that's the outlook from Sameet. But moving on, and Ashesha, BSC is the counter that you have picked up. Tell us what's cooking here.
Well, yes, the stock is soaring in trade today. Just a couple of hours ago, the company informed the exchanges that they will be considering buyback in the board meet that is scheduled to happen on the 6th of July. So on the back of this news that came in, the stock is soaring in trade today. In fact, if you look at the one-year chart of BSE, the stock fell from 700 levels in August last year to nearly 400 levels in the month of March this year. So it has seen a 50% correction from August to March, but since then it has seen a solid recovery. In fact, in the last 1 month, it has gained nearly 15%. Today, of course, on the back of this buyback news that has come in, the stock is soaring in trade.
Okay, yes, stock is soaring away in trade almost at the day's highest point as of now, 8% uptick there for BSC. Let's move on and talk about CreditAccess Grameen then. And Harsh, what is the news for here today? The stock is trading with gains of almost 1.5% as of now.
Well, yes. So first off, they have a fresh set of investors coming through into CreditAccess. You have the likes of Plutus Wealth, BNP Paribas Arbitrage, as well as Canara Bank, all three of which have invested in excess of 10 lakh shares is what each of them acquired at around 1245 rupees a piece. We also have the promoter company, which is CreditAccess India BV, which sold around 90 lakh shares at 1245, and that largely means that a little bit of the overhang also starts to go away. You're seeing a nice 1.5% uptick on the stock on the back of that.
Okay, but keeping on with the financials then, and Sameet, coming to you for the next stock, and that's Canara Bank from the PSU banking basket. A lot of counters are buzzing in today. Even SBI is participating, but specifically on Canara Bank, what sort of a target are you looking at?
See, overall, if you see, PSU banking space has been quite off late, but since morning, in fact, the entire pack led by SBI has been performing well. As far as Can Bank is concerned, this stock stalled its levels around 290, 295, which coincides with the 200-day simple moving average. It has formed a kind of a channel pattern on the daily time frame chart, and once this particular stock surpasses 315, we could see a confirmation of this pattern at around 315, 316. So if you look at the volume activity, it has risen substantially today itself. So we expect this stock continuing this northward move, 325, 330. These are the next levels to watch out for, and as far as supports are concerned, now 305, 300 should act as a very strong support.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on those levels for Canara Bank. But let's move on and talk about Federal Bank. This one is in focus also on the back of its operational update. Now, in Q1 FY24, what the operational update came in seems like a strong update that is coming from the company, especially in terms of the advances growth, the deposit growth, also matching the growth in terms of advances as well, and the CASA growth that tempered off a bit. But nonetheless, deposits, advances were quite strong. So look at the advances, they came in at 1.87 lakh crore rupees versus 1.54 lakh crore rupees last year. So an uptick of around 21% on a year-on-year basis, while a 5% uptick on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Also in terms of the deposits of the company, that came in at 2.23 lakh crore rupees versus 1.83 lakh crore rupees. That's an increase of 21% YOY as well. So keeping an eye on that one. CASA ratio up by just 5%. So let's keep an eye out on Federal Bank. Surely seeing a slight bit of an uptick today. It was up more than 1% at one point of time. As of now, trading with gains of 0.7%.
Okay, well, let's move on and let's shift focus to the other counters. And Sameet, coming to you, because we did talk about MGL, but what about RGL? That stock is also on your radar. So what are the targets you're looking at?
Well, Shrishti, mostly this, stocks always move in tandem. So IGL is the one stock that has been buzzing since morning. If we take a glance at the daily time frame chart, we can see a bullish pennant pattern in process. And once this stock surpasses 490, we could see confirmation of this pattern. So as of now, the overall trend remains sideways, but within this sideways, we can see some positive bias, coming into this particular counter. So above 490, this stock would confirm its breakout and then probably head towards its next cluster of resistance, which is placed in the zone of 505, 510. So one should trade with a positive bias, but the confirmation or the aggressive positions can be taken once the stock surpasses 490 on a closing basis.
Okay, moving on to the next counter, and the stock in focus is GHCL, because onto the top management there has been an update where the shareholders have rejected the appointment of Chairman Sanjay Dalmia as director, and a resolution on Sanjay Dalmia's board appointment was opposed by about 32% of the shareholders, and about 68% shareholders voted in the favor of Dalmia's reappointment. But the resolution was needed to be supported by 75% of the total votes to clear, and GHCL informed the exchanges in filing their AGM earlier that the other resolutions, including the paying dividend, were cleared by the shareholders. But definitely the reappointment of Mr. Sanjay Dalmia was rejected by the shareholders, and probably that's weighing on the stock today itself. The stock didn't fall that much, is now down 0.6%, but definitely not a great news for the company.
Absolutely, but we did speak to Sriram Subramaniam, founder and MD at Governed Shares, and he's actually sharing his take on the activism among the shareholders of GHCL and why they were against that appointment of the chairman of Sanjay Dalmia as a director. So let's go across and actually listen to what he said.
It is not surprising given the fact that the performance of GFCL in that sense has been flagging a bit, and the investors wanted change, and this was something that was sort of expected. The fact is that they wanted change, shareholders. If you see, the stock price has just about, I would think, in the same range. It has been range bound while the markets have done very well. So from that perspective, especially in the last 1 or 2 years, I think shareholders were angry with and they wanted change.
Okay. Okay, moving on to the stocks in focus then, and Sameet, coming to you for next one, because today the market are definitely hitting its record high levels, but look at the movement, big boy, Reliance, no stopping there. And what are the next levels that you're watching out for this one?
Well, clearly, if market has to move higher, probably toward the next milestone of 20,000, the Reliance needs to participate and lead from the front. Although it has been not that buoyant of late. Since morning, we are seeing good traction in this counter. Stock is almost trading at its 2 months high, and from here on, once the stock surpasses 2650, we can see the stock heading toward 2720, 2750, which is the recent swing high for this particular counter. So overall, the bias remains positive, and from here on, if Nifty has to surpass 19500, which is the immediate barrier as far as Fibonacci retracement is concerned. So Reliance needs to step up, and if Reliance moves towards 2700, 2750, we could see probably Nifty moving towards next cluster of 19700 or maybe towards 20,000.
Okay, keeping an eye out on those levels. But let's move on and talk about Lloyds Metals then, Ashesha. Why have you picked out this stock for us today? What is the news flow here? Because the stock is up and away in trade, almost 5% uptick right now.
Well, yes, not a stock that we frequently talk about, but the stock deserves mention today. Strong operational updates have come in, and that is the reason the stock is soaring in trade today. Direct reduced iron production, or DRI production, have soared by about 45% on a year-on-year basis. Meanwhile, iron ore production has also seen an uptick of a solid 400% on a year-on-year basis. As far as exports are concerned, the company shipped its first ever export parcel this quarter, which means they've expanded their footprint beyond India, and that is the reason the prospects look good. Operational updates have come in strong, and that is the reason the stock is soaring in trade today.
Okay, that's the reason. Strong operational updates from Lloyds Metals. But Sameet, coming to you, and Suryoday Engineering is what you have picked up. Definitely, the auto space has been buzzing, but look at the move in Suryoday Engineering. That's a 6-month chart, and the stock is up 25%. Any signs of breakout that you're spotting there?
Yes, clearly on, recently, if you see, stock has been consolidating in a range after seeing a sharp rally from the 330. And if you see, overall auto space has been, one of the leading space in last 3 to 4 months. So this being the auto ancillary stock from the, cash segment, we expect a good follow-up move after Friday's breakout. If you look at the volume activity on Friday itself, we can see more than twice or thrice of its average daily volume. So all this, evidences clearly indicate that the stock is out of its recent slumber phase. And from here on, with the near-term perspective, we expect the stock heading towards 438. So 438 would be our near-term target. A minor dip probably towards 410, 408 would be a good buying opportunity. And as a trader, one can keep a stop loss around 391. And as a disclosure, we have recommended this to our clients as well.
Okay, keeping an eye out on that one over there. Let's move on, and Harsh, Lemon Tree coming in on your list today. Why is Lemon Tree in focus? We had seen a bit of news flows coming in the hotel space last week in some of the names, but what is Lemon Tree doing today?
Well, yes, couple of new hotels added, to their portfolio. So definitely a plus. One is going to be Lemon Tree Manali, which is going to come up in Himachal Pradesh, of course, and the other one, they've signed a license agreement for a 120-room property in Tirupati, which is in Andhra Pradesh, of course. They've signed under the company's brand name Lemon Tree Premier. The hotel is expected to be operational by Q4 of FY26. So some time to go for that. But the Lemon Tree Premier in Tirupati, 120 odd rooms, banquet facilities, restaurants, swimming pool as well. And, largely it comes as a positive on the stock. But the stock not moving much. It was up around 1% at the start of the day, but currently up just about in the green.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on Lemon Tree. Let's move on and talk about HDFC and HDFC Bank. The HDFC twins surely are buzzing in trade. Obviously, over the weekend, what we saw that HDFC Bank actually intimated the stock exchanges that the scheme has now become effective from the date the day they informed was 1st of July 2023. HDFC Bank has become the holding company and the promoter of HDFC AMC company as well. And other than that, HDFC Bank also said that they've acquired 36.4 lakh equity shares of HDFC HDFC Ergo, which represents around 0.5% stake of the total issue paid up capital. They've acquired Ergo International AG and other promoters of HDFC Group as well. Other than that, in terms of HDFC, you also have the operational update that is coming in over there, where you're seeing the demand for home loans that has continued to remain quite strong, and obviously of the individual loans disbursed during the quarter, 77% were salaried customers and 23 were self-employed customers. The total loan book AUM also on the basis grew by around 9% over the previous year. So surely interesting moves coming in for HDFC Bank, and the date has been confirmed as well. So that is what is keeping both the stocks abuzz.
Well, yes, absolutely. HDFC twins on a roll. But with this, viewers, it's time to slip into a short break. But before we go, Adani Port's flagship port Mundra anchors one of the longest container ships in the world, and MV Hamburg, the 3399 meters long and 54 meters wide vessel, is a ship built back in 2015, was anchored at the Adani Port on Sunday. So that's the update coming in from Adani Port. But with this, viewers, it's time to slip into a short break. But don't go anywhere. We'll take you through more stocks that are buzzing in trade today, just after this quick break.